What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here, back with another NFL schedule prediction. In this video, I will give you my game-by-game predictions, game-by-game picks, and breakdown for each matchup on the 2021 Buffalo Bills schedule. Giving you my picks for each game, my thoughts on each matchup, telling you why I think it's a good matchup for the Bills, a bad matchup for the Bills, and just my overall picks for their record in 2021. Before I give you my record prediction for the Bills for 2021, make sure that you do spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL schedule predictions just like this. And let me know in the comment section below how you feel. How do you think the Bills are going to do this year? Can they make that jump from the AFC Championship to the Super Bowl? Will they regress a little bit this year? Will they still win the East this year? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to check out the rest of my record predictions on each team in the NFL, including the rest of the AFC East. The Bills kick it off with a very interesting matchup. The Pittsburgh Steelers in a big AFC game, Week 1. The Bills, I felt, were a bad matchup for the Steelers last year. I don't think much has changed. Now, I still think the Steelers, like that game on Sunday night last year, can put some pressure on Josh Allen, make things interesting from that perspective. But when Allen can spread them out, really decipher those matchups and just pick them apart, the Steelers secondary is not as good as it was in 2020. They've lost some players. I'm not sold on Big Ben. I'm not sold on their O-line. I think this is a game where the Bills D-line could actually play big, play well, and look better than last year because I think they can take advantage of a new Steelers O-line that just doesn't look great. So I think Buffalo at home, in front of their fans, Week 1, you guys will win that game. I'm very confident about that. Week 2, you play the Dolphins. Now, I'm not confident about this game. You played Miami last year. I believe that game was in Miami. I always have concerns. As a Patriots fan, I always have concerns about going to Miami early in the season because it's warm weather. It's hot, man. It is hot. And it's very uncomfortable for a team like Buffalo to go to Miami in that heat. It makes things difficult. It makes things challenging. The game last year was very close. I believe it's high scoring in the 30s. That was Fitzpatrick. This is Tua. Now, I will say, the Dolphins' defense is pretty well built to stop the Bills, but they haven't been able to do it. At least they weren't last year. I think this could go either way. I think the Dolphins and the Bills will likely split this year. I'm going to say Miami wins this first game because I just think that Miami advantage in September is a real thing. So I'm going to say Miami does win that game. But I'm going to say in Week 8, after the bye week, the Bills will beat the Dolphins to even things up this season. Week number 3, they play Washington. Washington is very talented on defense. And this is a game where you're going to be able to gauge how good the Bills' offense is. Because Washington will have arguably the best defense in football, or at least one of them, especially up front. So it's going to be a challenge for the Bills' O-line to keep Allen protected all day long. But on the other side of things, it's kind of an unknown as to what Washington is. This game is in Buffalo, which gives me more confidence. I think the Bills are just a better, well-rounded, more consistent team. If Washington were to pull off this upset, I wouldn't be shocked, but I just think the edge at quarterback is just too much here, so I'm going to go with Josh Allen and Buffalo. Week 4, they play the Texans. The Texans are awful. They will not have Deshaun Watson, and that makes them the worst team in the NFL. This game's also in Buffalo. That will be a cakewalk of a victory. Week 5, they play the Chiefs. We know this is a tough game. We know this is the one you guys are circling, and you hope that you can come out on top. This game is early in the year. It's Week 5. Andy Reid is just amazing early in the season. Game plan-wise, creativity-wise, it's off the charts. Trust me. Now, this game's also on Sunday night in Kansas City. If this game were in Buffalo, I'd consider going with the Bills. But because it's in Kansas City, it makes me really just struggle trying to find a way that the Bills will win this game because the Bills just looked so bad versus the Chiefs last year in both matchups. The first one, didn't love. The second one was just a complete domination. And I'm not sure the Bills have gotten there yet. Now, hopefully they can make this one more competitive. So come playoff time, if they play them again, then, maybe they've learned more about the Chiefs. They can be able to overcome them in the big game. But I got to go with Kansas City at this point in the season. I think they've done a good job adding some pieces on the O-line to protect Mahomes. They should be fully healthy. Going with the Chiefs. Week 6, Tennessee on Monday night. This is a tough game. Titans smacked the Bills last year. It was ugly. It was bad. Allen had one of his worst games. It was a weird situation because of the rescheduling issue and conflict. I think the Titans have regressed offensively. Now, the thing that challenges Buffalo is how good the Titans are at running the football. And because the Bills just are coming off of a Sunday night game versus Kansas City, that's going to take a lot out of them, win or lose. And Tennessee, Monday night, again, I always look at the Monday night dog, which I think the Titans will be. And that's always challenging. Derrick Henry, that offensive line, that run game, the creativity defensively that Tennessee can bring. They're not super talented on defense, but they do enough. This might just be one of those matchups. I think the Bills will lose to one of the Titans or the Colts. I'm not really sure which one it's going to be, but I'm convinced they'll lose to one of them, right? They beat the Colts in the playoffs last year. They lost the Titans in the regular season. It's tough, man. I think the Titans might just be, for whatever reason, not a great matchup. So I'm going to take the Titans here because of that whole factor, and that's going to head into their bye week at not a great record. They're going to be 3-3, which is going to be troublesome. But again, they could beat the Titans and lose to the Colts. So here I'm going to say they beat the Colts. But again, I really don't know. When I look at both matchups, I think they're both challenging for Buffalo because Buffalo's defense isn't very good at defending the run. They're not very big up front. They don't got great, run stuffers, big D tackles, big guys. They do struggle versus those power running teams more so than anything else. The Colts played them very well in the playoffs last year. It was very close. Phillip Rivers played well. I could see Carson Wentz playing very well. I don't know if the Colts defense, though, can slow down the Bills. The Titans, their defense, too, I could see it again. I don't know. Like, the Colts or the Titans, guys. Just write that one down. I'm not sure which one it will be, but it will be one of them that they lose to, and they'll beat the other one. Week 9, they play Jacksonville. That should be a win. Jacksonville still got a far ways to go to be on Buffalo's level. At this point in the season, though, Trevor Lawrence might be getting a little bit more comfortable with the NFL. I think Jacksonville is more talented than people give them credit for after this offseason with all they've added in the draft and in free agency. And going to Jacksonville is always a little weird, especially that trip. But I think Buffalo should be able to pretty easily win that game. Week 10, they play the Jets. I think they'll ultimately sweep the Jets. I think the biggest problem for the Jets when it comes to playing the Bills is they don't have the corners. Like, the Jets just don't have the corners to match up. I think McDermott, with what he can do defensively, scheme-wise, will confuse a rookie quarterback, make him hold on to the ball, cause a couple turnovers, some sacks, some big plays on defense, just enough for them to get that ball back and put up points. So I think the Bills will sweep the Jets. They play the Saints week 12. This game's going to be tough because the Saints, again, are one of those teams. Great offensive line, great defensive line. Yes, they lost Drew Brees. Yes, they've lost some players on defense. But they're still fundamentally where they were good last year, still pretty strong. So this will be a more challenging game than you think, especially because it's Thursday and it's on the road in the Superdome where it's very loud. I could see the Saints winning this game. I wouldn't be too surprised. But I think the big advantage, just like I said with the Jets, the Saints' corners are bad. They have Marshawn Lattimore, but they don't have much depth behind it. Now, they do have better coaching than the Jets, so I could see maybe that Saints team coming out with a good game plan. But I just think the Bills' passing game and Josh Allen, what he can do, will be just a little too much. But it's a one-score victory for them. Week 13, The Bills at home versus New England. These two Patriots games are going to be very tough. I think both games are going to be one-score games. I think New England's going to be good this year. I think they're going to be a playoff team this year. And their defense especially is going to give Josh Allen a lot of fits because they have an excellent secondary and they've very much improved that front seven, adding guys like Matt Judon and Dante Hightower back. So I think New England's going to challenge Buffalo in both these games. I think they ultimately split. They probably should have split last year. Right? They dominated on Monday night, but they got away with a close win on that fumble by Cam at the end of the first game. I think they win the home game on Monday night just because you guys in Buffalo are so rowdy. On Monday night, I can't go against you guys. That's going to be just popping there. But I do think you're going to lose the other game in Week 16 in New England. It might be snowing. New England is one of those power run teams where I think they're going to give you a challenge on that side of the football. So I think you split with the Patriots, you split with the Dolphins, but you sweep the Jets. Week 14, you play the Bucs. This is a marquee game. I think this is a Sunday. This isn't a Sunday nighter, but it's a marquee game. The Bucs and the Bills are a fascinating matchup because I could see Buffalo putting up points on the Bucs if they're able to contain that pass rush, which is not easy to do. But the Bucs secondary, you can expose it to a certain degree. As much as I like those players, I think you can beat them for big plays down the field at times. So if Allen can make the throws and your receivers can get open, you can make it challenging on Tom Brady. But I just think the Bucs are too well-rounded. I think they're too good. They're the most talented roster in the league. They're the most talented team in the league. I think what they could do, from just an overall run the football, play action, they can beat you running the ball, passing the ball. They'll get enough from their defense to where they'll be able to come out on top. But I do think this is going to be a good game and probably a one-score game. I would also throw into the mix that Sean McDermott has done pretty well versus Tom Brady in the past. So if there were a team to beat Tampa this year, the Bills will be one of those teams because I don't think the Bucs are going to lose very many games. So this one will be one of their closest, but I'm going to go with Tampa. Week 15, Carolina. They play the Bills. This is, of course, McDermott's old franchise. They've taken many players from the Panthers over the last couple of off seasons. The Panthers have a completely new regime, completely new quarterback. It's Sam Darnold, who you guys know very well. This game's in Buffalo. Again, I don't see you guys losing a game at home this year. I think you're going to sweep at home. I think you're going to go 8-0. I think the challenges will be on the road. And most of your easier games are at home too, so it just kind of factors in that way. But I think the Panthers are a talented team, but I still do have my questions about their secondary somewhat. I still think that offensive line is not very good, and I'm not super confident in Sam Darnold. But the Panthers are one of those teams that you can't sleep on. Like, if you sleep on them, they'll upset you. So then you have that Week 17 game versus Atlanta. If Atlanta is good at this point, which I'm not sure they will be or not, they're kind of one of those teams that could be really quite good or really quite bad. Like, there's kind of no in-between for them. So Atlanta, they're going to have an awesome offense. This game will likely be a shootout. I just don't think Atlanta has any defense. Like, I don't see them slowing you guys down at all. I think you're going to score for fun. So I think Buffalo's going to win in Week 17. And ultimately, I see your record being about 12-5 this year. So about the same as last year. You could say maybe a slight dip from last year from a wins-losses perspective, but that's probably because your division's stronger. You won't sweep the Patriots. I don't think you won't sweep the Dolphins this year. I don't think. The chances of that happening are very slim, especially both. Sweeping both. And then you play a difficult schedule where you play the Chiefs, you play the Bucs. You do play a first place schedule this year, which is a step up. And you're a marquee team. Teams are going to have a target on your back. But I still see the Bills being a top team in the AFC, and they do have a chance in the playoffs depending on how they're playing. So that's the way I see things for the Bills right now this regular season. Expect to be good this year. Just depends on how good. All right, let me know in the comment section below what your record is for the Bills. Mine's 12-5. Don't forget to check out the rest of my schedule predictions. Gronk, spike that like button and subscribe for more. Peace.